Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm here in the studio with Mashpee Wampanoag Tribal Chairman Cedric Cromwell and Vice Chair Jessie Baird. Welcome to both of you. The 94th Annual Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow is coming up beginning on July 3rd this year. It is the entire weekend of July 3rd to 5th.
So this year, the theme of the powwow is homecoming and honoring our relationship to all of our relations and honoring all our relations. And traditionally, powwow is called homecoming because if people are away, that's the time they come home. And that has been true since we had our first public powwow some 94 years ago. But I'm sure you probably know people have been having powwow for centuries privately. But this year, we're honoring all of our relations, and that includes the land, and that includes the water. Mm-hmm. So that's the theme of this year's homecoming.
And life, certainly, because, as you mentioned, Jessie, thousands of years we've been having powwow, our gatherings, privately as a tribal community. And certainly we invite the communities in, and there's life to this. If you think about our ancestors, right, that we're doing this thousands of years ago, and we continue to do it today. There's a lot of life to that. And, just to think about our mothers, right, who gave birth to us, we're an extension of them. And they continue to live today through this powwow, through ceremonies, because our moms, they powwowed. And they came together, and it was a good time. So
my mom looked forward to powwow.
Sure did.
Every year and worked really hard, like most people's parents do, coming up to powwow. And part of a rite of passage for Wampanoag children is just the process of getting ready for powwow, preparing regalia, preparing food, getting the house ready for family coming home.
And think about when we were kids with our moms getting ready for powwow, our family. It was just a really exciting time putting those regalias together and being in that circle.
And dancing and getting ready for dancing started months ahead of time. People perfecting their two-step and perfecting the rabbit dance and perfecting the moccasin dance for those contests.
And to that point, Mashpee, as far as I can remember, was always that powwow that kicked things off, in the summer around the whole powwow time. And certainly everyone came out to Mashpee.
It was summer once powwow happened in Mashpee.
Now, has it always happened that weekend?
Traditionally, powwow, it literally means he or she is healing someone. So when Roger Williams first recorded the phrase, he got confused. He said, "What is happening here?" And the person said, "Oh, powwow." And so he took it to mean anytime there's a group of Indians in a circle and there's singing or there's any dancing, it's called a powwow. And that's where the term came from, but it literally means he or she is healing someone. And so people would powwow to make medicine, and they would powwow at different times of the year. But certainly during the 4th of July weekend, where the rest of the country is celebrating its independence, it's a reminder for us to still make medicine and to celebrate the fact that we're still here, even though the United States grew up around us, quite frankly.
And, we're a tribal nation, right? So it's our independence, to your point around remembering who we always are. And talk about such a ceremony, celebratory time, and you're right, the country grew up around us. And so a lot of people here on the Cape, and they come out and they see the tribe and they feel the tribe. And obviously we come together. We come back home as a homecoming. So it's our time. Springtime's our new year, right? And so what a great time right after the new year coming into the summer to have our powwows.
And it's sort of like an extended family reunion.
That's right. And not just Mashpee, but traditionally we've powwowed with all of the tribes in the region. So one of the rites of passage is being around 6 years old, and when powwow opens, you present yourself to the top of the circle and you say which tribe and which nation you're from. So that way we always knew who was in our region, and the same tribes would powwow together, starting with Mashpee and throughout the season in New England.
And it really is sort of a season of these events.
When you talk about Shinnecock, who ends it, at the end of the summer, and then Narragansett's coming up, their August meeting. And then certainly Lumbee, which already happened. But, with us.
And Aquina follows up in September.
Yeah.
So there's a regular schedule where tribes sort of have the same weekend each year, and we do what's called the powwow circuit, and we visit each other. But that's sort of just in this region. But the powwow, what we call the powwow trail, is a schedule of powwows that take place across the continent every year. And there are places online you can look to see that schedule.
Sure. And it's incredible medicine, as Jessie said, because, you come to Mashpee and all the tribes come out and they're here, whether it's drums, whether it's dancing and singing, whether it's communion, coming together and tribal leaders and tribal members, Narragansett, Mashpee, Aquina, Shinnecock, Maine tribes, Mi'kmaq and Nova Scotia, and as well as Maine, coming together. And it's like, wow, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And we jam out at the powwow. But I tell you, the energy is well received by folks that aren't tribe as well as that folks are tribe. So you talk about communion, and the energy is so good. So when you talk about land and life, we're dancing on Mother Earth. We're representing our Mother Earth. And there's lives coming together. Remember our ancestors, and it's medicine to move forward to the 7 generations to come. And so it really comes together as that amazing time. And when we talk about Fireball, that happens on Saturday at dusk. When you talk about that warrior game, that healing game, and, from somebody standing out that doesn't understand, it looks like a ball and fiery and they're playing soccer, but it's truly a game that you're playing to heal somebody. And as a warrior out there playing, as you grab that fireball, you're getting medicine from that ball, and you're also putting medicine into that ball, and you would say, gee, your hands are going to burn. And I tell you, you heal so quickly. But it's a rite of passage as a young man, as a grown man, as a warrior, to play that game and carry that fireball and play for somebody that was sick, a loved one that may have passed, and as they go on to that Grand Lodge, so to speak. And these warriors come out and play, and when you play, the energy and the medicine is so good. I mean, I haven't played in about 5 years and played when I was younger, but I honor the warriors that come out and play, and it's very strong. It's very good medicine. That game used to be played very privately, because of the energy, the medicine, and what the warriors did. And as those young men and became warriors, and as those men that played to teach those younger warriors how to play the game, it was such an important medicine game. It still is today, and we play it in public, but certainly it's a game that must be honored, must be respected, and it shows the non-native communities, the extension, that we still make medicine. We're still warriors, and we still play these medicine games for our people in honor of our people and ones that we love and respected. So,
is the ball an actual regular sports ball that's on fire, or is it something special?
No, it's made, with cloth, that has ceremony over it, and it's wrapped, and it's sat for a while in kerosene. The person that makes that ball puts medicine into it as well, and sometimes the core of that previous ball is kept as well and remade again. And so it's very important that as we play that game and as that ball is created, there's a lot of important medicine behind it. And I tell you, we're one of the only tribes. There's a couple of tribes that play the game, but it's many thousands of years old, this game. And there's some Iroquois tribes that do play it. There's a couple of tribes in Canada that do play it, but Mashpee's been playing it forever. And we've given that game back to other tribes as well that may have played it many years ago that haven't had it. And say, hey, we want to get back into it. And so some of our tribal members have went to other tribal nations and to bring that ball and bring that game to them. And there's no photos during that game as well, because it is medicine, and we don't want to take that away from the game. But you got to be there, Laura. You got to come and see it.
Absolutely. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. We're talking about one of the most unique events of the summer, the Mashpee Wampanoag Powwow. I'm in the studio with tribal leaders Cedric Cromwell and Jessie Baird.
Can I talk about food? I'm going to go right for the food. On Sunday at 3 o'clock, the Lady Hawk Singers, who are female singers, and they do hand drum as well, they're hosting our clam bake. It's been happening as long as I can remember.
Mashpee is the traditional word, and Mashpee just means an enormous meal, I guess you would say, and it's if people aren't familiar with clam bake, if they're here visiting, it's a traditional form of roasting that includes steam and hot rocks and fish being put there and covered and steamed for some time. And all of those flavors blend together.
And this is really something the tribe's been doing for thousands of years, and sort of brought this to
absolutely. That's a very exciting point.
Traditional form of cooking.
Folks talk about I'm having a clam bake, and they go to this very big clam bake. It came from us.
It's a traditional form of cooking and very healthy form of cooking,
Yummy.
And it's a form of cooking that allows you to put various different types of food on and have things not overcooked or undercooked, but done just right. And if you like clams and quahogs and lobster and mussels and actually linguiça, it's gotten modern now. We have linguiça and we have hot dogs and brown bread and onions and sweet potatoes all in one meal.
Jessie,
and people can go and there's a sort of a charge that if people can
yes, you can purchase a ticket when you enter the powwow grounds. You can also purchase a clam bake ticket for Sunday. And once the clam bake's done, you go up and get your meal. You'll get in line and get your lobster and your bake and your fish and enjoy.
So that's one of the major events. Mm-hmm. And what are some of the other events during the course of the 3 days?
Yeah, Grand Entry is so important. I love Grand Entry, and that's the procession of our tribe and other tribes that come out, and that's the beginning of the powwow. That starts around 1 o'clock.
It's usually around 1 o'clock each day. And that's a time period where people gather according to dance style, which is very educational for people that don't know. So people will line up according to age and dance style, and they are preceded by leaders of nations and elders, and of course our veterans. And they open each day. So that's an opportunity to really see which nations are represented. And the circle is cleansed. All of the dancers are cleansed.
So that happens at 1 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday?
Yes, 1 o'clock Indian time.
So a great
get there
time.
Before 1 and plan on sometime between before 1 and after 1.
And the powwow opens up at 10 a.m. during those 3 days, Friday the 3rd, Saturday the 4th, and Sunday the 5th. And so folks can come around and see all the artisans, all the different wares and crafts from tribal vendors.
There's weaving, wampum, painting,
and those are
carving.
From people from all over across the country, right?
That's
Guatemala,
right.
indigenous people there as well.
Native American wares from all over, traditionally made arts and crafts.
Absolutely. Beadwork, bonework. Drums, leatherwork, food.
More food. Actually, some wonderful food at vendor stands, too, besides the clam bake. You can enjoy everything from squash and smoked mussels to smoked herring and chowders.
So lots of food, and then there's really dance and music is so much a part of this, right? That really takes place all during the weekend.
Jessie pointed that out in Grand Entry around the various regalia styles and dance styles that all come together. And there's dance competitions within those different segments of regalia style and dancing, as well as drum competition.
Yes. So various drums, usually between 3 and 6 drums will show up for the weekend, and there will be a drum contest. So, and dancers delight the drum contest because the dancers get to have the benefit of the drummers, their best work. And you also see the tiny tots that are out there that are 2, 3, and 4 dancing for the first time. You get to see the new babies out there. And then there are honor songs for different people and reasons that happen. Powwow specials throughout the weekend. And there's an occasional giveaway throughout the weekend. Really, it's just a celebration of life and a thankfulness for having family still and for us really still having our feet in our homeland.
Certain tribe members have roles like head dancer and head drummer. Is that right? And how is that chosen? Is that a special honorary position?
Do you want to talk about that, Cedric?
Definitely. So Kia Hendricks Jr. is the head man dancer, and Alex Loves Pocknet is the female head woman dancer. And at times, tribal elders will weigh in on who those head dancers should be, head man and head woman dancer. And then collectively working with some community members and the powwow committee, they come up with who represents that time or rite of passage, as we've spoken about before, for the ceremony, for this powwow. And so Nakia Hendricks Jr. was picked as the head man dancer, and Alice Lotes Pocknett was picked as a female dancer. And they represent that honor, if you will, for those 3 days. So they lead the grand entry. They come out in the beginning, and they lead various intertribal dances as well, and various ceremonial dances like the Veterans Dance, or, you may have a crow hop, or, round dance and what have you. And so they lead those various dances, and they're committed to that powwow all weekend. And when we talk about tiny tots, they'll look up to these head women and headman dancers to understand the various dance style steps. I was headman dancer back in 2000. And you're out there all weekend.
Now, is that considered?
You got to have those steps.
Is that considered the best dance? Is the person who gets that considered the best?
No,
dancer?
I don't think so. I think it has to do more with the medicine that the powwow is representing that year, and people that have been out there in previous years that other people in the community might have been watching and say, "Okay, this person's really stepped up and representing us well." And we would like to honor that person by asking them to lead. But it's an enormous responsibility, and you have to certainly be physically fit.
You do.
I did it once, and I barely. By day 3, your muscles are screaming. You're out there all day.
And it's just you pointed out, it's an honor as well as the community looking at you in an honorable role, and also it's an honor for that person that's in that capacity to give back to the community and the circle. And as you spoke about it, you got to be fit, and giving that medicine back, oh my gosh, it was a true honor. And it's exciting, and it feels great.
Now, the last minute or so we have left, can you give some of the details about the times on each day and the different hours and what the costs are? Can you give some of those details in the last few minutes?
Powwow, again, kicking off on Friday, July 3rd, 4th and 5th, Saturday and Sunday, respectively. The admission is for adults $13, and for children 6 to 12 years of age, it's $8, and that's also for elders 65 years and older. And then children under 5, it's free. So that's admission. The price
10
of
o'clock,
entry.
the gates open.
Definitely.
So it's a good idea to come at 10 o'clock and pick your spot for viewing, because by the time grand entry starts, it's packed and it's busy. So you want a good spot. So come early. Usually there's a break, and then we'll finish up around dusk.
Okay.
Around dusk, and certainly clam bake at Sunday at 3 o'clock, and also Fireball Saturday at dusk. And as Jessie mentioned, you want to pick your spot. You do not want to miss grand entry.
You also don't want to miss the princess contest. And we actually don't have princesses in the European sense, but we do have a contest each year where a young woman up to age 18 will present herself. And so are other young women up to age 18. And what they're asking the tribe to do is to select them to be an ambassador of the nation around the country and locally for the next year to come, and to work with youth. So this is a process that starts in the beginning of the weekend and culminates in the selection of that person on Sunday. And that's a really beautiful event if you've never seen that happen. That's Sunday afternoon toward the end of powwow.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time. I've been talking to Cedric Cromwell, Tribal Chairman of the Mashpee Wampanoags, and Jessie Baird, Vice Chair of the Tribal Council. Thank you both for being with me here today.
Thank you very much.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.